Hi, this is Brian Tellen. Here I am with our weekly edition of Ask Babin with our guest, as always, Jason Babin from the Philadelphia Eagles. Welcome, Jason.
Hey man, thanks for having me on.
No, thanks for being here. I guess the question on every Eagles fan's mind is, what's happening in Philadelphia? What's going on with this team?
I think if you word it FTW, it would be still be politically correct. I think at this point, it just seems like Murphy's law is just set in on us, and everything can go wrong. Has gone wrong. From injuries to crazy plays to different sides of the ball taking turns to break down. I think we're at the point now where I know there's been so much talk about what's what we're going to do, it's how we're going to fix it. But now it's just like, shoot, it's just going to come down to whooping the man across from his butt, whether you're on offense, defense, or special teams. And I think people are going to be put in situations and are going to rise up, these last 7 games.
So Dominic Rogers-Cromartie, he commented the other day about other teams telling you or telling him that the Eagles have all kinds of talent, but are basically weak. I want to paraphrase, but basically are afraid to hit the man next to them. And Brian Dawkins responded to that and said that something to the effect that if that were the case, and he heard that while he was on the field, he'd call his wife and let her know there was going to be a fine this week. So, how do you respond to that type of allegation from the other teams?
Well, I know that I'm talking. I don't know the comments. But I do know that if you guys people turn the tape on, I'm sure they can answer that question for themselves. If they think we're a whole like acting like that, or if these are people that DRC was talking to, talking about individual people. I evaluate myself and hold myself to a high standard.
So, of course. So, one of the things that I noticed in this game, and it's kind of been building up and building up. I think is the question is, have the players given up? And I've noticed. I'll point out there was one play where I believe there was an interception or a fumble. Anyway, it was a turnover, and King Dunlap ran right by the runner who ended up scoring a touchdown. Ran right by the runner and just kind of let him go, and made no attempt whatsoever to do anything but run by him. And so, those type of plays, they make the fans think, boy, the team's just given up. Has the team given up? Is that the
Well,
indication of
I
that?
think that
Or
might be. I think that might be an unfair example. Guys. He doesn't tackle people. He blocks people, and when you're so specific in your talents and what you practice on, it's kind of fish out of water syndrome. But I think you could argue a case the other way, saying so when Mike got hurt and the tips really got down, and we coach had no choice but to throw an unproven rookie into a game where we're behind, and you saw the offensive players rally, and obviously there were some mistakes made, and the situation wasn't perfect, but if you saw the way those guys, when they could have easily given up, our starting quarterback just is out, we're putting a rookie in that's never played before in a big game, and you saw the guys rally on offense, and obviously there's some extremely extenuating circumstances with the tip ball fixed. This they went for 6, and the punt return went for 6. That really changed the outcome of that game. And honestly, the scramble where we all missed him on the sack, was really a turning point as well. But you saw everyone rally behind the situation, even though he could have just thrown the towel in.
Sure, sure. And I think the Philly sports nut writers and editors and things were chatting during the game, and I think we all thought Nick Foles played pretty well, especially given the circumstances. And the loss is certainly not on him, like you said. There was a tip ball and a punt return for a touchdown, and so we all thought he played pretty well. Is the team rallying behind him? Are they ready? As we've heard, Michael Vick has I think Andy termed it a significant concussion, so it seems like he might be out for a little while. So, is the team ready to rally around this rookie?
Well, obviously, as you guys know, we don't have a choice. You can cry about your circumstances, or you can try and overcome them. So we're going to work together as a team because we lost all these games as a team, and we're going to have to come together as a team. more than the other team to pull the victories off. So we're going to work together.
And so when Foles went in, I know defense is your side of the ball, but maybe you can just, as a pro player, you can, you know, give us a little bit of education. But I noticed when Foles went in, the play calling changed, and they were more, as you would expect as a rookie's going in. But there were more. Well, it seemed more like a West Coast offense, where things were shorter. He was dumping the ball off faster. He was, we were running the ball, and there was a lot of success there doing that. And I think one of the things that, again, we talked about on Philly Sports Nut is, is this because, Foles is a rookie and they went to something different, or, I guess what I'm getting at is Michael Vick gets a lot of bad bad press out there, and the offensive line certainly does. But when you had a more typical pocket passer quarterback with a little bit of mobility, not the mobility of Vic, things seemed to go a lot better, and the line stepped up, and he had more time to throw. And I'm wondering if it's because the traditional pocket quarterback is not going to scramble in the wrong direction of the block or against the blocking scheme. So, what I'm looking for is that something that's on Michael Vick, or is that just a coincidence from this game, or did the line just
Well,
really step up?
I'll answer. There's really three questions in there. So I'll
Sure.
answer them right there. One, we got very smart coaches, and any great coach knows that you set up and make play calls based upon the talent and the ability of each individual player and collectively as a whole. So we're not going to run a 3-4 defense. We don't have the personnel for a 3-4 defense. So when it comes to play calls for Nick Foles, all Marty Morningway and Andy Reid are, let's do what Nick Foles does best. Let's just keep it simple for him, and that's what's best for our offense. And as far as the offensive line setting up, I don't usually watch them too much because usually we're going over adjustments and changes and different things on the sidelines. But second half they were on the field, quite a bit, and I got a chance to watch them really work. And a young guy, Dennis Kelly, which I don't know too much about, I saw him pancake Radcliffe a couple of times. And I saw him get aggressive, and Radcliffe tried to fight back, and he slammed him back down the ground. I was just we were talking about that as the line, because playing aggressive and dominate people, that's what our approach is. And to see that aggression and that tenacity out of those young linemen, I think made the guys that are watching happy and the coach happy, and it was just something really nice to see.
Okay, so you're a few games into the Todd Bowles defensive coordinator era. How do you feel about Coach Bowles now?
Well, we knew what kind of guy he was. When we took over, he made it very clear what kind of guy he was. Our defense as a whole hasn't drastically changed too much, because it's tough to make drastic changes in, a one bye week. But you see a small nuances we got, defensive tackles moving. We've got our ends moving, safety in their positions to show different coverage, so we're just trying to put the guys in the best possible place for them to succeed.
All right, so let's look to the future. You have the Redskins coming up next weekend, and RG3, who's been lighting it up pretty well. I mean, his team's not been winning a lot of games, but he's certainly been a huge factor in whatever success they have been having. So what are you doing to prepare for a quarterback like RG3, who can throw from the pocket, but he can also open it up? Kind of like Mike Vick Mike Vick when he came into the league, and Mike Vick when he's on his game. How do you prepare for a quarterback like that?
Well, our defense, I think, speaking from the defensive line point of view, we match up well against quarterbacks that are, even if they are mobile, they need a little more time to make decisions. Because when you have a quarterback like Drew Brees or Peyton Manning, that makes those quick reads. I mean, he knows where he's going for the ball before the ball is snapped. It almost nullifies our defensive line pass rush. So we have a quarterback that likes to move around, likes to move the pocket, needs more time to make decisions, where we can play and get after it. I would feel like it's the matchup that we take, because at least we have a chance to, get after him.
Sure. Okay, well, I mean, the conjecture is, and I know you probably can't speak to anything like this, but the conjecture is that Andy Reid may have seen his last year as an Eagle, and Michael Vick may not see another down, depending on how serious his concussion is and how Nick Foles plays. So I guess we look forward to, I know you can't comment on those, but I guess we look forward to seeing what the rest of the year brings and seeing if there are any changes to the Eagles with a new quarterback or to the way that Andy's dealing with the situation of losing so many games in a row. And well, we look forward to it. And thanks for joining us, Jason.
All right. Well, I'll say this. I mean,
Uh huh.
I'm not going to comment on it, but
Sure.
I know the guys on the team, both sides of the ball, and I know the coaches in the office, and they have all the guys and coaches have so much pride and respect for themselves. I know that no matter what the circumstances, and I think this is kind of what's shown up. You can nitpick any play about a certain person, but as a whole, no one's given up, and they've shown tremendous heart, and in the face of adversity, because the 5 games tonight is something. It's tough. We got to break it, and I haven't seen anybody give up. So it's that part of it at least is been a little bit of bittersweet.
Sure thing. Sure thing. Well, thanks, Jason.